Ever been when you know you've got it, slam it back in, and notice what happens. Whoosh. Ooh. I hate to say you got Chinese eyes, but it'd be kind of redundant. How good does that feel? It's good. Good. Now watch this. Now I want you to imagine, now on your arm right here, come here. I want you to imagine that, you know what an equalizer is, or a dimmer switch? You ever see one of those dimmers where you...
Oh, yeah.
I want you to imagine that on your arm is this little dimmer switch. Now, once you focus on those good feelings circulating all throughout your mind and all throughout your body, what happens when I start to move the switch up this way?
Gets bigger.
Ooh. So if I go this way?
A little lower.
Oh, so if I go... Ooh. Now double it. He's breaking out in a sweat.
Good.
Good feeling, huh?
Yeah.
Good. Now we're going to start there, and we're only going to make it 10 times stronger. He's stoned. I don't think he's... Okay. I'm not going to ask what it was, but it was good feeling?
It was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Give him a round of applause. So the whole idea here is every feeling and event that we have in our life, NLP teaches us that we have this little projection screen around our body where we can access it, but there's also a physical place in our body that if we drop our awareness down into the body and find where the feeling starts and then where it goes and trace it throughout the body, we can reactivate pretty much any sensation we've ever had. So what we want to do is we want to begin to generate good feelings. We want to generate playful states. So here's what we're going to do. Everybody stand up. Now, I'm going to guide you through this exercise, and the only thing is, it works on everybody, as long as you follow the instructions. Does that make sense? I have used this to shrink tumors. I have used this to remove fluid from the pericardium. I have used this to cure chronic constipation, okay, migraine headaches. Okay, it's fast, and it's not hypnosis per se. It's just the way your nervous system works. But the secret is to be as a little child. Everybody here was a child once, right? Just being sure. I was never a child. And I'm sure everybody here remembers that, and with the exception of maybe Ankur, played pretend, right? But I'm sure even he has had moments where he's played pretend. Or he pretended something was real and it got absorbed in that experience. But you've all have a favorite movie, don't you? You have a movie, you go into the theater first time, or maybe it was at your home theater if you're rich, right? And you sit down, you got your popcorn, favorite drink, and the lights go down, the movie starts, and an hour and a half, 2.5 hours later, you're feeling great, can't remember what the fuck happened. Can you tell me at what point you became absorbed in that experience? If you can, you're lying, because you weren't absorbed then. That's all we're doing. This is called NeuroSomatic Absorption. To the degree that you can do this, you can have anything you want. And it will become a very, very important part of the process when we start working with the 3 magic questions. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. But I'm not going to ask you what those events were. So you can make them as juicy and as intense and as satisfying as you want. Some ladies are going, oh boy, can you handle this? All right? Some of you guys got some really good ones. I can feel it beaming up here. All right? So the first thing is, here's the first thing I want you to do though. I want you to go back to that time, that place, that experience, and I want you to remember how you were standing at that moment. Remember how you were breathing, if you were standing. If not, just use your imagination. Okay? Breathe like you were breathing. This is one of the secrets to changing your emotions. Every emotion we have has a corresponding posture and breathing rate. If all we did was go back to the physiology, the posture, and the way we breathed, we'll go back into those emotions. It can't not happen. All right? So close your eyes, bring back those feelings, and what I want you to do now is I want you to begin to pay attention. I want you to begin to pay attention to where in your body that feeling starts. Notice where it goes. From that point, notice where it moves to next. And then where does it go next? And then next again. And then next again. Until it completely finishes a circuit going eventually back to its point of origin. And notice how your body likes that feeling. Notice how your body begins to really enjoy that process. And now what I want you to do is I want you to begin to move through that circuit of energy. Make it move faster and faster. Stronger and stronger. Deeper and deeper. Just keep doubling and tripling the amplitude of that feeling until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, and it can only get stronger. Like it takes on a life of its own. It begins to circulate, growing stronger and stronger and stronger. If you're doing well with this, what I want you to do is I want you to notice that there's a color associated with that energy. And I want you to take that energy, and I want you to reach in and grab it with both of your hands, take it out and look at it with your inner eyes. Notice if the color changes or stays the same. It's always your first impression that's important. And now I want you to physically take it in your hands, and like you could notice it's moving in a certain direction. And I want you to physically take your arms and double the amplitude and the rate at which it's moving. And then double it again. Keep doubling it, double it, and double it, and double it until you know it's impossible to stop. Till you know you've got it. When you know it's that good or even better, slam it back into that spot. Whoosh! Notice the change. Ooh. Notice how good you feel. Pretty good, huh? Okay. Now I want you to use your imagination again. By the way, some of you are still processing. That's okay. Just let it happen at your own rate and speed. I want you to imagine on your arm is a little dimmer switch or a little knob or something that you can use to control the intensity. What I want you to do is I want you to notice that level of feeling that you're having right now. And just slowly take your arm or take that switch and move it closer to the center of your body. Notice what happens to the feelings. For some of you, it'll get stronger. For some of you, it may get weaker. It doesn't matter. What we're figuring out now is how your nervous system codes the intensity of that experience. And all we care about is how you do it. So play with it. Move it up. Move it down. Some of you may notice the colors get brighter. Some of you may notice the feelings intensify first before the colors get brighter. However you do it, I just want you to play with it and get really good at it. Very good. That's it. All right. Very nice. Now, as you take these good feelings and let them continue to build with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, I want you to think about a time in your life when you were absolutely, irresistibly attractive, I should say. You met somebody and you felt instantly that they were highly attractive. It was somebody you wanted to be attracted to you. And you knew that they were in fact attracted to you. And you could feel what it felt like to feel beautiful, to feel hot, to feel whatever the word is you would use to describe it. Remember what it felt like. And then I want you to back up that feeling. Go 5 minutes before or a minute before you realized that. Because that's where the purest aspect of that state is. And I want you to take that energy and notice where in your body that feeling begins. Good. And now I want you to notice where it goes next. And then where it goes next. Follow it as it makes a cycle through your body. Getting stronger and stronger with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. Just allowing yourself to let that process happen. Stronger and stronger. Notice your body posture starting to shift, your breathing rate starting to shift back into those feelings of being absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, attractive, hot, whatever word you use, just plug it in there. I want you to hear a voice in your head telling you in the most irrefutable, honest, and sincere way, maybe even a little seductive or romantic, telling you how attractive, gorgeous. That's right. And listen to that voice telling you all those good things about yourself, and notice how as it continues to talk to you in that way, how those feelings start to grow stronger and stronger. And then it begins to circulate, and it begins to merge with all those playful, good feelings we started with. And it begins to merge, creating a whole new level of sensation, creating a whole new experience in your body. And then allow those energies to synchronize, to merge and to blend. Allowing your brain to create new neurological connections in you that allow you to walk through the world living in this state. This state of pleasure, playfulness, being attractive, radiating a glow that other people can't help but respond to. And let that process continue to cycle over and over again, stronger and stronger and stronger until you know you've got it. Until you know it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, and it only gets better. Because tonight while you sleep and while you dream, your brain your nervous system will make the connections you've created even stronger, more powerful, until it eventually becomes the natural way you move through the world. But no matter how strong and powerful it gets, it can always get stronger and powerful, but you'll always have your little control mechanism that allows you to make the feeling stronger or less intense, depending on how the situation demands. And whether you actually go home tonight and do it consciously really no longer matters, because I've already told your unconscious mind to do it. So there's nothing else to do but enjoy it. It's inevitable. And just allow that process to continue, because when the process has reached its natural conclusion and it's permanently hardwired in, most of you are already there, but your eyes will naturally open. And it'll be flooded with those blissful, attractive, or maybe orgasmic feelings. And that's a good thing, because it's only going to get better. It only gets better. Ooh. This one's like, oh! Right on. Okay. You guys can have a seat. Okay. Here's your first homework assignment. You are to go home every night from now on, and for 10 minutes before you go to bed, you are to feel good for no fucking reason. When you get up in the morning, click the switch. Feel good for no fucking reason. Okay? Here's why. It goes to something we call neuroplasticity. The more pleasurable sensations you generate in your body, the more oxytocin your system releases. And one of the side effects of oxytocin is it can actually rewire the brain. It makes the brain easier. It gives the brain an easier ability to create neurological connections. It actually lets you overwrite old learnings and install new ones. Okay? This is not hypnosis. This is physiology. Okay? I have again, if you read the oxytocin connection, you'll learn a lot. If you read my first course, I talk a lot about the power of oxytocin. It's also the trust hormone, by the way. The more oxytocin in your system, or in other persons, the more trusting they become. If you want a woman to want to be with you and to get intimate with you guys, you've got to get them to trust you. You have to create a connection, and you have to be trustworthy. Ladies, same thing. The hormone that does it for guys is called vasopressin, but oxytocin works just as well. Okay? So this is the feeling. We want to learn. See, we spend way too much friggin' time feeling crappy. Right? We're actually hardwired that way because that's a survival mechanism. Unfortunately, it gets out of control. We need to spend more time feeling good for no reason. But again, here's the other side of this. If we can do this, and you all can, it's inevitable. You're going to have amazing dreams tonight. Okay? Enjoy them. That's my gift for you guys for coming out. But what happens is, if you practice being in this state, then your perceptual filters, the things you pay attention to in your world, will shift. They will change so that they re-trigger and reinforce the state you're in. You will have more people approaching you. You will become aware of more opportunities for approaching and being approached. You will become aware of more attraction signals from other people. Why? Because now your nervous system is sorting for it. Most guys are far uglier than they realize and far more attractive than they have any concept of. What do I mean by that? The average guy, you ask a hot guy, on a 0 to 10 scale, we'll just wait. It's called an objectivity bias. You ask a guy who's who's a 9 or an 8 or 9 on a 10 scale, how attractive they are, they'll say, I'm a 5, I'm average. You ask a guy who has what George Carlin calls severe appearance deficit, how attractive he is, he'll tell you, I'm a 5, I'm an average guy. You ask an average guy how average is, he'll usually rate himself a little higher. Here's the thing though. Most guys are not nearly as attractive as people always rate themselves higher. They never rate themselves lower. People are almost never as attractive as they think, but they're generating more attraction than they realize, because they're not aware of the cues that signal somebody's actually attracted to you. Because you're all moving through the world looking for attraction the way you would signal other people that you're attracted to them. But that's not how everybody else works. Okay? When a woman is looking at a guy, she has a checklist in her brain for what constitutes the right way to approach her, the right way to talk to her, the right thing to say, where to touch her and when. And what she's doing is she's moving through the world, projecting that onto everyone around her, and monitoring how well you do on the test. Every time you do something right, in the right order, you get a little check mark. She feels more comfortable, you get to go to the next level. It's like a video game. All right? Guys, you're doing the same thing. This is the problem. You're doing to others as you think that the way you want to be done unto. If you want to connect with a woman, you have to figure out what she's doing and give it back to her in a way that she recognizes she's getting it. Ladies, you have it a little bit easier. Okay? In most interactions, you're the prize. Unfortunately, because of the dynamics the social society set up, you are more likely to be approached by guys you don't want than the ones you do. Because the attraction signals, the mixed signals you're unintentionally generating will cause the people that you would actually want to meet, who would actually respect and honor your boundaries, to not approach you. What do women hear? What do you always hear women say? I want a guy who's confident, who's strong and objective, but who'll respect my boundaries and respect me, right? Well, you understand that the game is rigged. The body language you were taught is designed to discourage approaches, which means the guys who would actually honor and respect you won't. But the ones who don't care, the ones who are, forcing themselves to be alpha or the jerks, they will. Exactly. So here's the thing, and again, it's not your fault. Okay, it's just how you were socialized, and unless you understand the dynamics, you can't change it, right? The secret for you guys, is learning how to be playful and flirtatious, which is usually not that hard for most women. But again, what's happening is the minute you see a guy who's approaching you, all of the shitty encounters, where the guy just would not fucking leave, would not stop emailing you, texting you, doing all those weird things. True or false? Is that what starts playing in your head? Okay? Stop! Okay? Now, you will still get approached by jerks. But if you understand some very nice tactical or diplomatic ways to extract yourself from the interaction, you can be approachable. You can actually approach guys and not have them run screaming because they think you're like a dominatrix or something, right? Which would actually turn some of these guys on, but that's a different class. The other thing, you guys can't take yourselves too seriously. This is if you're going to be effective in flirtation, and whether it's a networking event or a social event, you've got to stop taking yourself too serious. Seriousness is the kiss of death. I'm telling you, seriously. Okay? You got to be playful. Okay? So one of the things we want to pay attention to now is whenever we're interacting with somebody, we want to have our feelings right. Okay? Now I have other classes where I'll show you how to really kind of rewire that stuff, but we wouldn't get into any other things we're doing tonight. Does anybody need a pee break? Let's take 5 minutes. Come back, grab some coffee, grab some water. It's free. Having fun?
Yeah.
Feel free to talk to one another.
One-on-one coaching.
Sure. Absolutely. We'll talk about that. Remind me if I forget, because sometimes I get so carried away with the content I forget to tell anybody what we got.
I've got a million things going on with me right now.
Oh, okay.
I've been studying hypnotherapy. I've done a lot of energy work. I'm just kind of on the verge of learning about it. So that's what I'm interested in anyway.
What are you looking to get? What are you looking to accomplish?
I don't
curious.
know. I want to somehow be engaged in the coaching arena eventually, but I'm really thinking about creating some kind of guided meditation CDs that I can market on the internet. That's an idea because that's one of my things right now. I'm like into guided meditations, and I'm like
I did guided meditations for many years. Back when I first got my certification as a Reiki master in the 90s, before Madonna, that's Kabbalah, never mind. Yeah, I
think
was.
it's a really good way to introduce people to their
People love trance work. You know, regardless of what word you use to describe it, the moment the person goes into trance, their whole body secretes a huge amount of endorphins, oxytocins.
I'm like addicted to it now.
Yeah.
It's like the only place.
And you'll actually get younger.
Okay.
Well, these are old studies, but you know, people who are doing meditation of some kind for more than 10 years generally wind up to be about physiologically 10 years younger than the people in their age group. It has a very rejuvenative effect. And then if you're doing anything alchemical where you're going in and clearing out shit, like stuff you've been lodged in your tissues and things like that, you can amplify that even more.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff
Through
behind it.
meditation.
Yeah. But then if you want to go into the alchemical side of things and not just bliss out, then there's a little bit more, it's a little bit more involved. And it's a little bit more cathartic. But it'll have huge effects on every part of your body. Every part. Yeah. DW, how you doing with this?
So I read I think it was NLP, New Technology of Achievement.
Okay, yeah.
I read it probably like a year ago. It seemed interesting, but I have no clue how.
How to make it work?
Yeah,
Most people don't.
yeah. It seems like really. I mean, I guess I've heard and read and seen videos of people talking about how it's powerful, and I see it in text that is written, but I can't see the connection between. I can't apply it, is what I'm trying to say.
Did you have a pleasurable experience here?
Yeah, it's good. But you know, when you were doing the guided thing, in the beginning, I was like, okay, I could kind of visualize it, but in the middle, I just like got bored and lost focus.
Okay.
I couldn't keep track. I was like,
So pleasure bores you.
no, when you like listen to your directions.
You just zoned out?
Yeah, I just zoned out.
That's part of the process, brother.
Yeah,
That means you're unconscious. Your conscious myself, screw it. And it just went in.
okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. A lot of people think that because like they lose, there's gaps,
Yeah.
that they somehow went to sleep or they got bored. No, what actually happened was you went deeper. And what happens, it's usually a natural byproduct of going in. A lot of people think when they listen to like a self-hypnosis tape or something that they'll be listening and all of a sudden they'll be waking up. And the first thing you ask is, did you wake up when the tape ended? Because that's usually a sign that you went deep. Yeah. So, but again, because we don't really understand the dynamics of it, we tend to think of it as one thing.
But is there a way to test that it actually works? Or
Where's your anchor? Where is your pleasure?
Like where it is?
Yeah, touch it and feel it. And just let it come back.
I don't know.
Yeah. Stop analyzing it.
Yeah,
The problem is this is what we talk about absorption.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually it comes at, we describe it as either smart person syndrome or hypnotist disease. It's hypnotist disease if you've been trained in hypnosis before. Okay. Basically what it means is whenever a hypnotist who's been trained or has been doing hypnosis for a long time is being the subject in a drill, there's a part of them that's following along with the experience, and there's this little part outside monitoring and evaluating the skill of the hypnotist and wondering if there's anything they can steal.
interesting.
Which means if there's a part of you outside evaluating what's going on, you don't have the same level of absorption. Okay?
It's a very difficult thing to do.
That's why we talk about remembering when you played pretend as a kid. Right? To the degree, it's not about losing focus. Actually, there's two things you need for any trance to work. You need absorption in the experience and a continually narrowing focus of attention.
Do you have any good resources, books, etc.?
I have tons of resources, brother.
For introducing somebody to like NLP properly? Or?
Richard Bandler just put a book out called This is NLP, I think. I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
But
is there email on your website or something? Or?
yeah, well, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to get on my mailing list, and I actually got a couple free gifts for you guys, so you guys can start playing with this stuff. Okay. But again, tonight's stuff is on social engineering and social dynamics.
Okay.
So I want to keep it kind of in that ballpark. I'm going to install stuff into you, but remember, if there's a part of you that's trying to evaluate if you've changed, that's the part that's holding you back. Okay, it's not your friend.
Where does that come from?
It's how we're trained. It's how we're taught. Yeah, everybody. It's just a question of how strong is it and how much time do they spend doing it. People who are very technical, very analytical, that part of their brain, that part of their mind is hyper developed. In order for us to really get change, we have to get you out of it. The way we just started, by generating intense pleasure in the body.
So the physical sensation.
Yes, this will do it faster because it stimulates. Because anytime we can affect the body first, it will automatically impact the mind.
I can, but I'm not really.
Okay? Whereas if we try to affect the body through the mind, it runs up against that filter, that barrier we call the conscious mind. Most of us are very, very disconnected from anything below the neckline, except for maybe below the waistline, right? There's a big gap in between somewhere, right? We need to get I call it activating the meat, waking the meat up and getting it activated. You guys haven't even touched 0.1% of the pleasure and excitement and bliss you're capable of. As good as what you guys just did was, it's not even close to what your nervous system is capable of producing. Okay? It's just the beginning. But since we're doing social skills, that level of state that you generate within you is going to ripple out to everybody else, and it's going to subtly change them. And they will automatically begin to perceive you as more attractive, more fun, more approachable, and in many cases far more charismatic. There'll be a glow around you. Okay? You just got to get the stick out of your ass. For lack of a better word. But honestly, that's honestly what it's about. It's not about what you can rationalize. That's what's keeping you stuck. Human beings are not rational creatures. And I'm going to get stoned for saying this, and especially not women. Okay? You're all guided by your feelings. We all like to think of ourselves as logical, rational, analytical, feet on the ground people. You're not. Okay? You're feeling creatures. And you justify your behaviors generated by your feelings with the data. Now, here's what you don't think about. The more intense those feelings are, the more flimsy the data can be. The less sense it has to make. Okay? Getting back to the whole sexuality thing, remember that? We kind of got off on a beaten track there. 2005, Secret Orgasm Tips was one of the best-selling courses. We launched it in 2004. Took right around a year for it to really hit a full head of steam. In 2005, I was voted one of the top 10 attraction and seduction experts of the year by seductionlayer.com. Okay? Not because I could get all these women, although that helps. It was because I could generate such intense sensations, both emotionally as well as physically in them, that they just fell in love, usually on the first night. Okay? This is before I learned 80% of the stuff I'm teaching you. Okay? It's some serious mojo. All right? But it's based on learning how to give a woman what she wants, exactly the way she wants it. In order for you to do that, guys and gals, you have to get out of your head and into their world. You have to be able to perceive and pay attention. It's the first rule in my book. Pay attention. Because when you pay attention to a woman the way I'm describing, she will tell you and show you and demonstrate to you every single thing you need to know to attract, arouse, and get intimate with her, usually in the first night. I know that sounds like a lot, and the ladies are going, right? But ladies, let me ask you a question. Violet, if you met a man who paid attention to you in the way you've always fantasized about, who touched you at exactly the right time, in exactly the right way, in a way you've always wanted, but never seemed to find. Look at her.
Maybe get some points. Get some points.
Now here's the thing you understand. Remember I talked about, when we talked about approaching, we talked about how when a guy approaches a woman, he's looking for indicators of attraction based on what he would do to signal attraction. Right? We call that projection. When she interacts with you, once she gets past that initial, oh my God, he's talking to me phase, the checklist comes out. And the game is on. And what she's doing now, by the way, as I'm describing this, don't look at me. Look at the unconscious responses of every female in the room. Okay? If all you understood was the checklist, they would get more attracted, more connected, more aroused, the barriers to intimacy drop, and she will make love to you the first night, many of the times, to keep you. Because she's afraid if she lets you go, she'll never see you again. Sum it up by this. If you take sex off the table, she'll put it back on. This is why you have to focus on what she wants. What she wants. What she wants. But not just on what she wants, how she knows she's getting it. There's a real secret to that. Do to her what she does to you. Okay, ladies, vice versa. We're just much simpler. We're much more blatant. Right? To us, yes?
You're talking, since most of the things you're talking about have to do with figuring out what, quote unquote, well not quote unquote, but trouble pleasing the woman, or what the woman is looking for to satisfy in her agenda or whatever list that she has, not the one that she thinks she has, the one that she isn't even aware of herself. But
yes.
My experiences in my personal life has been in this society that women are programmed. And again, I don't mean this in a derogatory fashion.
Of course not. We have to be honest here.
In a subservient way to please the man.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, just not being an expert, but just in my personal experience, that if a person is, as you call, even alpha or macho or whatever, there's a lot of women that are attracted to that.
Absolutely.
And their whole agenda is to give up all their priorities and please that guy.
Absolutely.
Because that guy is a jerk, maybe, but that's what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Well, actually, it's what they think they're looking for till they actually get it.
That's what they're programmed. That's what's their program, like a robot, and not in a derogatory way.
No, I understand.
They're more sanity, whatever, and people say the guy's abusing you. That's not the point. That's her role is to please. Maybe from the father, I don't want to be a psychologist, but that's my experience.
Sure.
I get women that might be attracted to me, and I'm not looking for a servant. I'm looking for maybe somebody
looking for an equal.
want to please.
Yeah.
And it's just a complete conflict, and it's very frustrating.
Right. And then wouldn't it be helpful to have a sorting mechanism to know which ones are the ones you want and which ones you don't? That's where we're going. But if you don't have your head right, it's kind of a moot point. It's kind of a moot point, right? You see, the thing you got to understand, guys especially, every woman, well, with the exception of a small subset who are just, I call them lifeboat junkies. They jump from guy to guy because they want somebody to save them. Avoid those. We'll show you how to sort for that. But women want to be part of a man's life who actually has a life. A woman doesn't necessarily want you to make her the center of your life. Does that make sense?
It's an emphatic yes.
Okay? And that's actually where women, again, in my book I go into a lot of, I'm not trying to sell the book, but in the book I go into a lot of details about certain attitudes that you guys have to have and maintain if you want to keep the relationship on fire and alive beyond a year. Or even after you say I do, or you mean it. Remember, I'm not doing this so you can go out and bang one woman, like eat women like potato chips. They'll make more, right? I'm not saying you should go and do that. You can if you want. But my goal here is to create better men. And to do that, I have to give you the skills and the tools so you're not going around in perpetual starvation. So you're willing to accept just whatever nature hands you. Does that make sense? So, and again, I have 2, maybe 3 hours to give you 30 years of study with this. But I want to give you things that are actionable. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm trying to be very straight. Many of the things women are taught from their perspective, from their mindset, they make perfect sense and they serve a specific purpose. In the long term, they actually shoot you in the foot. Okay? One of the things that happens is ladies like a guy who's strong. They like a guy who's dominant, but dominant doesn't mean what you think it means. Most people think of dominant as, down, bitch, down! Right? And there's a small subset of humanity that actually responds to that. Okay? We have special places for people like that. But a woman is evolutionarily predisposed to become more submissive to the mate she bonds with. Okay? Your mission, Jim, should you decide to accept it, is to find out what her process is that lets her know she's getting what she wants, so she's willing to do that. And if you can do that, you have already set yourself apart from every other man she has ever met and probably ever will meet. Because in her head is an ideal. That's her checklist for what constitutes the perfect romantic partner in her world. And if you match it, she convinces herself that you're the guy. The barriers to intimacy drop, and she becomes hyper bonded to you. By the way, it works the same for guys. It's just we're a lot simpler. You just go up to us and go. Okay, but every one of you is walking around with a checklist. Okay, now I could get into all the psychodynamics, and and Ken had some very good points. There is a very strong pre-programmed response to dominant men. You can't fight it. You can fight it, but you will still have a very primal attraction response to those kind of men, even if they are jerks, because it's hardwired in there. Now, just because it's there doesn't mean you should sort for that. Okay, you need to have a little bit higher standard than just down, bitch, down. Well, again, in certain contexts, that can be fun, right? We have a class for that. That's a different class. All right, but here's the thing I want you to get. Okay, each of you have a checklist. Each of you manipulate each other. Every gender manipulates the other gender. Get over it. The question is, are you moving in the same direction? Are the manipulations you're engaging in getting you more of what you want or more of what you don't want?
Change your checklist?
You can. You can. In fact, the process I've just taught you about releasing all that oxytocin will do it. It will change the checklist faster than anything. You see, keep talking about this oxytocin thing. Guess what releases more oxytocin than any other process in the body? Somebody who hasn't already been to the class, thank you. Oxytocin.
I knew that.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, you hate cuddling, right? Yes or no? Yeah. Be honest. Any embrace that lasts longer than 20 minutes stimulates oxytocin release. Just saying. Ladies, same thing. That's why they like to cuddle. Right? That's why they like to cuddle. Your goal whenever you approach a woman is to simply find out if she's worth your time. Ladies, whenever a man approaches you, or you approach a man, your goal is simply to find out if he's worth your time. How do we do that? I'm going to give you the #1 pickup line of all time. Works in like 98% to closer to 100% of the time when women use it. Works in the high 93 to 95%. When men use it, goes something like this. Hi. You see, it's not nearly. By the way, one of the things you want to do when we go to approach somebody, if we're doing like a cold approach, we see somebody we want to meet. If we're not just bumping in line with them at the counter or at the bookstore or wherever. I don't go to clubs because I hate places where I can't hear myself speak. I'm big on conversation. I'm big on interaction. So in those environments, you may need to tweak some of the stuff with more behavioral, more body language stuff. But again, the first question you're going to ask. Well, let me do the approach thing first. Never approach a woman directly. Can I use you? No, you don't want to appear on camera. Can I use you, Jim or Jeff? So, this is how you never approach a woman like this. Bad idea. Okay. First of all, I'm too close. Right. Second of all, this is aggression. This is how aggression is triggered. Okay, you get this close. You approach somebody straight, and you get this close in the prison. They're going to shank you. I'm just saying. Mating rituals in there are a little bit different. But when I approach, I'm always better off approaching from a diagonal vector. Okay. I want you to just pay attention. As I approach you straight, notice how you feel. right? This is where you start to get weird. You start to get a little queasy, right? But watch this. What just happened?
It's much more relaxed, easier.
Remember, if a woman gets a creepy feeling when you approach, that's the filter she's going to see you through. Did you notice I also got a whole lot closer to him? I'm in his intimate zone, and it's okay? Now our nervous systems are going, oh, hey, let's synchronize, baby. Right?
Maybe yours is.
Go ahead. Give me a round of applause. All right? So when we're going to approach somebody, and by the way, one of the biggest female fantasies is the love at first sight fantasy. Right? Where you're in a crowded room and your eyes meet. Right? Fantasy is important. We laugh because it's not a guy thing. It's everything to them. It's everything to them. They are hardwired, evolutionarily, but also socially, to look for the leaders, to sort for strength. Now, strength is not down, bitch, down. Do you know what strength actually means in their world? Besides, actually, we call it dominance. That's a word we like. Do you know what it means in their world, guys? Authenticity.
About protection.
It can be on a very reptilian level. And we're trained to sort for... Trust me. You walk into... If a bunch of athletes walk into a room, a bunch of soldiers walk into a room, every estrogen receptor in the place goes... Okay? There's a physicality to this, but I want you to understand something, that it has to go more beyond that. They will see, if that's all they have, that's what they'll sort for. You understand? But in terms of what we're talking about dominance. We're talking about someone who has the strength and the sense of identity, sense of self, to be able to assert what he believes and what his standards are in any situation or circumstance without having to resort to violence necessarily, but is willing to if it has to. Someone who's not putting on airs to impress someone else. Someone who's strong enough to be gentle and is okay with being gentle, who can laugh at themselves and not demean and not feel diminished by it. Ladies, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay?
Takes a man to admit to say I'm sorry.
Yeah. By the way, the fastest way to end any argument, I'm sorry I was wrong.
Yes.
Guys laugh. Test it. Okay? Ladies, you want to see him turn around really quick? Look him in the eye and go, talk to me like I'm someone you love.
It's a good one.
Okay? What did I really just do there with those two simple phrases? I changed the frame. I changed the meaning of the interaction. When I change the frame, I change the filter. When I change the filter, I change the information they're paying attention to, and everything else shifts. Okay? When you approach, yes?
Are these short-term fixes or are they...
No, these can be very long-term fixes.
But, I mean, if you're... So is it a situation where the person accepts he's wrong? Is it an actual... Does he have...
Well, you have to be, see, there has to be a certain level of sincerity.
Right.
And when you can fake that, you got it made. You laugh, I teach it. Sincerity is the most powerful trance inducer. When you speak from the heart, people listen. Okay? Remember, energy field, 8 feet in diameter. 8 feet in diameter. Your heart, your physical heart, sends more information to your brain than your brain sends to your heart. Anybody here study physics? Anybody here know what entrainment is? Okay, entrainment is the law of physics that says rhythmic sources, molecular-based, want to synchronize. You get a room full of clocks with a little pendulum, all moving at different rates. Come back in a few hours, they're all moving together. Go in, set them all at different rates, come back in a few hours, they're all moving together. Right? This means yes, this means no. They took heart math people, took a dog and his boy, strapped them to some machines and let them go out in the yard to play. Within 15 minutes, their heartbeats synchronized.
I did an experiment with elephants, the same thing.
Okay? Is this energy? Is it New Age spiritual tantric mumbo jumbo? Maybe. The fact that it's scientific and scientifically verified. I don't think of energy as, balls of energy shooting out of your hands, although that can be fun. I think of it more as data, like Wi-Fi. And your nervous system is the largest organic antenna. And you're sending out all these frequencies. The question is, are the frequencies you're sending out getting you what you want? If not, we need to change it from the inside. Because when we change it from the inside, everyone around us changes automatically. That's the lazy guy's way to change your world. Otherwise, you walk around trying to change everybody else around you and get exhausted because most people don't want to change. Okay? So when you approach, hi, how's your day going? Simple, easy, but have the right state. And be genuinely curious about them. But it's not curious about, are they going to sleep with me tonight? No. Bad idea. Is this person fun to be with? That's what you want to know. Okay, they're hot, so what? And whether you're a guy looking at a girl or a girl looking at a guy, they're hot, so what? They're attractive, so what? Are they fun? That's what I want to know. Are they fun? It's the mindset. And do we have anything that we can share? Commonalities. It doesn't have to be a big commonality. The commonality could be you're both in the same place at the same time. Anybody hear something called the Forer effect? The Forer effect. Anybody here read astrology? How many think it actually applies to them?
They all apply to you.
Yeah. That's the Forer effect.
Okay, that's it.
When we read something that's written in a generic way that we buy into at some level, our perceptual filters automatically shift so that we automatically associate everything as being directly related to us. It's called the Forer effect.
I'm sorry, what's the name of it?
Forer effect. F-O-R-E-R.
Okay.
E-F-F-E-C-T. Okay? So just the fact, second big female fantasy. You ready? Destiny brought us together. It was fate. You've been to Barbados, I've been to Barbados. Oh, it's like we're meant to meet.
It's a good talk, but it's not the fantasy.
Oh, it's a good what?
It's a good talk,
It's a good talk.
but it's not a fantasy.
Well, it depends on how the guy follows up with it. Right? I mean, think of all the meetups you've been to and all of the blurbs you have to go through at All Things San Diego to find out what we're doing, and then you found yourself here. It was like we're destined to meet.
Stretch.
Everything happens for a reason. Not really. Because remember, you're not attracted to me yet.
Yes, you heard us.
What did I say about logic and data? And they don't want to be a blowdown. Okay, they're trying to say no, I'm not, no. Right? I understand. I'm not doing it to be confrontational. I'm doing this to just give you guys a place to start. There are a lot of things that are going on, and a lot of things that are going on in their heads that are universals. We want to start with universals and then find out what it is they really want. And then we want to create a way to create a conversation where they give us all the information. And when I say they, I'm using men or women. Because this is diabolical for you ladies, I'm telling you right now. Once you make your approach, hi, how you doing? Level 1 question. You can ask one of two things. The category is called location or occasion. So you can ask, and by the way, you should soften everything I'm about to tell you. I'll go into softening in a minute. You can say, what brought you here today? I'm curious, what brought you here today? Why are you here? Okay? Why do we want to do that? It's a very simple, superficial question, but it does one very, very important, actually several very, very important statistical things. Ladies, especially for you, and especially for guys. It gets them out of their head and into an interaction with you. It's non-threatening. It's no big deal. But most people are walking around perpetually inside their own head making movies. Okay? Sometimes they're good movies, sometimes they're not. Make sense? The moment somebody walks in and says, hey, how you doing? Right? What I've done is I've taken him from being internally directed to external. But now the next part is I've got to get his attention and I've got to keep him interactive. So under no circumstances do you ever ask a question that can be answered with a yes or a no. Right? You always ask an opinion. And not, do you like the band? No! Shit! Right? It's more like, hey, I saw you cross the room and I thought you might be really interesting. I got a question for you. What do you think of the band?
It's good.
It's good?
It's nice, yeah. The singer is good.
The singer's good? What do you like about the singer? I'm curious.
Voice?
Is he hot?
That too.
Look at her. By the way, did you guys catch what I did? Did you catch the body shift? Look at her blush. Right? All right. Now, again, these are certain triggers that the minute you assume a certain body position, it fires the physiological and emotional response if you're in the right state. Little thing, you guys. Everybody touch your jaw. Okay? I want you to pay attention to how much tension is in your jaw.